High schoolers, what cliques exist now? Is it still nerds, jocks, and stoners, or are there new groups that the older generations don't know about? Yeah, those still exist, but now there are sub-cliques of those and new cliques like Tumblr kids, gamers, edgy kids, furries, SJWs, those weird people that call their friends dad. Basically, anything on the internet is a clique in real life. People who call their friends dad? What does that mean? I've never heard of this. What, like they're all like, oh, daddy, oh, dad. I'm trying to figure this out, but I can't. Is this a fetish thing? Nah, I'm in Maine. We kind of have a caste system here where the bottom level are the socially awkward kids. Usually freshmen, junior Tumblr, geeky type, rar XD. The next level is the theater-ish semi-popular people. Then there's the semi-popular people, and finally the group of girls and the jock-ish guys. There still aren't any if you're British because of school uniforms stopping anyone from expressing themselves. Phones still banned in most places as well. One group of people, just people. Thank God. I graduated a year ago, but it's taken a more internet social media approach. Some people have Twitters, Finstas, etc. It's weird. Kids are weird. I could have told you that. Everything here exists at my school, except we have an extra group called AmPhitheather kids. Our school has this outdoor pit or amphitheater in the center of campus where all the weird kids go to sit during lunch. These are your Tumblrinos, loners, and most notably furries. Our school in the past a few years ago has actually banned furry accessories like ears and tails. I kind of understand that rule. For one, I guess because schools are usually more interested in stopping occurrences of bullying happening than punishing people who actively bully others. But at the same time, some teacher probably found out it was a fetish thing and went, well, that's not allowed at school. So, in my opinion, perfectly understandable.
Keep those furries in their place.
The ultra-progressive, genderless, communist clique, they only seem to own crop tops, even the boys, and blame their bad grades and lack of success on their oppression by white males. But this is coming from a humanities school in Manhattan, so it might not represent the norm. Not really any exaggerated cliques like in the movies where it's super obvious and separated. It's all merged, to be honest. I hang out with some jocks who are also mildly geeky, and I'm a metalhead skater. The only real clique I've seen are skaters, many of whom are stoners, but I could never fit in with them. All the black kids in my school group up for some reason. Basically, you make friends with anyone and hang out with them, regardless of stereotypes. It's still crap though, because bullies exist and are more subtle. Yeah, I probably said this way too many times, but I imagine with the mass access to the internet and understanding that younger people have of it nowadays, bullying is just on a whole different level. I was a high schooler a year ago. Thank God I've left that place. But in my school, there were the preps, the nerds, and the loners. Lots of loners. In fact, I was one of them. People who sit by themselves during lunch, people who watch from the sidelines during prom. At first, it was depressing, but I got a different view of school and life than most did. Also, the few friends I did make are stuck with me forever. Only regret is I wished I studied more in high school. I was always the kind of person who could do next to nothing and pass with C's and B's. Yeah, I wish I studied harder in high school as well. Just graduated from art school, mostly ages from 18 to 23 now, and there's more defined cliques in college I've found than there was in secondary school, ages 12 to 19. In my art school, the most common stereotype was the aesthetic kids. I suppose they wear a lot of thrasher, but most have never skated, smokes all the rollies, has anxiety, has alty hairstyle, wears makeup unusually, wears the vintage store/urban outfitters trends, retro sportswear, filler, Adidas, wax jackets, loud collar blocking. Then you had your typical hard boys, chav wannabes, rich kids who dressed in tracksuits, Fred Perry who sold illegal substances and were stoned all the time, got into fights and robbed crap, hippies and new agers. Although being amongst most of the other cliques that were toxic, this person was eventually wrapped in a boho variation of the aesthetic. You have goths, gamers, cosplay community. We have one total scene queen, just one, and surprise, surprise, she ended up being a self-absorbed female dog. So many out-of-touch rich kids, so many who paid for their degrees, some hipsters, a handful of genuine artists, and so much crap. Most of the cliques in art college bonded over two common interests: illegal substances and partying. There were some who never did any illegal substances before going to art school, but eventually they did. There was a few good eggs who genuinely never drank or partied or did illegal substances and seemed to be level-headed. But honestly, our college itself thought it was better and contemporary in the art world and didn't make room for them or their style of art fit. That was the first place I felt it was clique-y. When I first went in there, I was confident, self-assured, and happy in my skin. Everyone else was anxiety-riddled and worried about not fitting in. After 3 years there in a mountain of debt, I feel I've lost my confidence and my sense of self and feel anxiety creeping back up on me. I've been battling with anxiety for years before. Everyone else seems to be more confident and assured in their ways, and there were so many crappy and fake people. This reminds me how I used to visit my friends at a university they used to attend for arts, and I was surprised when they came out of it and basically had zero contact with anyone that they spoke to at that university after the fact. And maybe I'm just dumb and weird, because wherever I go, I usually make at least one meaningful connection and someone that I speak to on a fairly regular basis, but I don't know, I guess it was weird to me. SJWs, cancerous scum of the earth, aka popular kids who wear Supreme and talk down on others. People with far right and left political beliefs only taken seriously in the 1930s. Weebs with far right and left political beliefs only taken seriously in the 1930s. Music kids, STEM kids, people who ironically use the word normie. Christians, people who only talk to other people online. Believe it or not, I dig this perspective on things. Supreme kid, anime and video game kids, like nerds, but extremely bad at school. Most people enjoy either or both of those. Just don't only talk about it. This isn't something I've really thought about before, but I'll give it a go. There are the really popular seniors and juniors who are popular and involved in just about every extracurricular activity. Then there are the band, orchestra, and choir kids, which is pretty self-explanatory. Then you have the really well-rounded people who are generally nice, get good grades, involved in a few extracurricular activities and such. And then you have the memers. We also have a very strong LGBT community in our school. Then you have the really trashy group of people who smoke a lot of weed, don't shower, try and fail to skate, and rarely go to their classes. Then you have the Tumblr subset of individuals, which is pretty self-explanatory as well. Many of these groups have bled into each other and have their own subcategories. Oddly enough, I haven't noticed any of the aesthetic kids that many other people are talking about. The athletic kids are the popular ones. The nerdy ones are mostly just the ones who look up weird crap on their computers in class. They're the memers. The art hoes who dress like they're from the 90s and are obsessed with photography. The emos who have a new hair color every week and wear band t-shirts galore. The edgy kids who make everything a joke, like the nerds, are also memers, come to think of it. Like a hardcore version of the nerds. The other category of people who don't really do much and don't fit into any category. Hi, I'm a nerd. Also, I think what's interesting about this generation is the blurred lines between groups and stereotypes. Groups seem to intertwine and be more flexible than the cardboard version of what you'd imagine it to be. I would definitely say that's to do with things like the internet and whatnot. People just have a lot more room to explore different things and spread themselves out over multiple subjects. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when being a nerd and someone who openly enjoyed video games to an extreme degree that wasn't like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed and stuff, you were a nerd. But then you had things like The Big Bang Theory came out, and that sort of made being nerdy just a regular thing. I swear to God, before The Big Bang Theory made it like kind of cool or trendy to like nerdy things, you could not enjoy these things on like a public, open basis without being called a nerd, a weirdo, or obsessive or something. Not even those anymore. In San Jose, it's all of the hype beasts that wear Ultra Boosts or Jordans or Yeezys and everything like that. Nowadays, it falls under pretty much the Tumblr indie rock groups and ghetto sporty people, SoundCloud rappers, STEM kids, which has a decent overlap with the I like to offend people community and are usually the most cringeworthy and irritable of the bunch. It's a lot more individual now than it was, though.
Girls wearing cat ears. Frickin' everywhere!
I graduated in 2013, but the groups were smart kids who were the most respected by anyone, Asians who were into Wong Fu and Kev Jumba or Niga Higa, photographers and Picture perfect people. People who knew every single thing about cars. Preppy cheerleaders with a lot of makeup. Students who sleep 24/7. That one white guy. My school had 90% Asians and 9% Latino. Students who are a little too into anime. Students who have a concerning addiction to League of Legends. Students who can skip most of their classes for track and swim meets or concerts. That student with a 4.5 GPA going to MIT. Okay, so I literally had no idea who Niga Higa was until this very moment. I didn't know it was a YouTuber. I just thought they were listing martial arts or something with really entertaining names to a more ignorant person like myself. In LA, it's the rise of the Hesh community. Basically, everyone who wears camo pants and Tyler the Creator merch or Supreme. These people are the absolute worst. Don't get me wrong, I love Tyler the Creator, but damn, I hate this community of wannabe photographers and edge types. The only true clique in the sense that they're closed off and unwelcoming are the self-proclaimed outcasts. The kids that claim no one but the other weirdos like me. They're not banded together because everyone else rejects them, but because any small difference in interests makes them turn up their nose. I think it's because they refuse to experience anything else that their social skills become stunted, and their opinion of anyone who isn't an outcast is so low. For the most part, groups intersect and people are decent to each other. In my hometown, we had the flannel mafia. They were around 40 kids strong within 2 to 3 grays. I don't remember how many there really were. They always wore flannel, shared stories about how they wrapped their four-wheelers or snowmobile around a tree or another object, acted like hicks on purpose, the height of their trucks equaled status, and all of them had Confederate flags in their rooms, despite us living in the North woods. It was a pretty unorganized clique, but if one of them wanted to get the others together, the others wouldn't mind. It was pretty weird, but they didn't do any real harm, so no one minded much. Pretty people with no real friends, just orbiters. Nerdy kids with dark humor. Girl groups. Meaning groups with only girls. Cool kids. People who listen to non-mainstream music and watch Netflix who think they're cool. Aesthetic kids. Instagrammers, mood, aesthetics, black and white photos, Lana Del Rey, and whatever else goes with tea. Party people. People who can only talk about parties.
The gay-straight alliance, under which the high school experienced a millennia of peace.
As a senior in high school currently, here are my thoughts. There are 2 basic distinctions. You are either A, partier, someone who is down to drink and do illegal substances, or B, someone who is against partying. The A's are then subdivided by how hard you party, and what illegal substances you do for the most part. The alcoholics versus the stoners versus the kids who huff stuff. And the B's divide themselves by seemingly random feuds and grudges, thus breaking them into groups based on what they do, like the typical groups. Same old in Midwest Wisconsin. Valley girls, jocks, stoners, nerds. Currently a junior, there are quite a few loners where I'm from, ones that usually don't fit with the society of my town. Nothing new there. There is a new really patriotic group that I have recognized these past few years, usually racist and negative towards people that don't stand for the pledge and or don't recognize military as outstanding people. Town I'm from is Mondovi, very conservative and secluded. As someone who is 17, there are more groups of kids that try to be rebellious by being offensive, screaming gay, doing illegal substances, and looking to their friends to confirm that what they did was superior to everyone else. They also listen to rap music or whatever artist seems to be at the top of Spotify. Constantly, these are the kids that always have their little earbuds in their ears during class and get in trouble for it. As for the nerds, there are no nerds. In fact, nobody uses that term anymore. There are more kids that look like troublemakers that are geniuses than the typical nerd you see in movies. Another thing, there is that group of kids that scream every single phrase they have ever heard of, such as F-boy, lit, yas, insert something. Who? I don't give AF about that teacher. There are so many I just remembered the cringe group that walk around with a loudspeaker blasting rap music.
I got some bad news for you, kid. You might want to sit down for this. If you think there are no nerds around, then you're probably the nerd.
Gamers account for a crap ton of people at my school, and country kiddos wearing country crap with their trucks, and emo squadron, which no one really likes, cheerleaders and football squad, stoners, sometimes involved with football and cheerleader squad, student council squad. All these are probably the biggest. It used to be your average high school with all the stereotypes. Now all the chill people left, and it's just judgmental preps, halfway crooks, snitches, jocks, F-boys, and a couple emos and furries, nerds spread around. Real shame, but you can't blame anything other than the school administration and the cops running around trying to arrest every kid for everything from jaywalking to cigarettes. I don't think I agree with that assessment very much. I think the issues start at home for the most part. The main cliques nowadays are vapors, some stoners, SoundCloud rappers, nerds, emos, and of course, the group that will never fade, the cool group. But now, it's more dispersed. There's more beef and a lot more gangsters. People are friends, but everyone has something to say about someone as soon as their back is turned. A lot of ravers and drinkers, too. The experience of everyone being a two-faced mother at high school. I'm a senior in high school, and this is what I've witnessed. There are the Chads, who are the athletes and work out at the gym as much as they can, and then ask nerds what the heck is going on in class. Then there are the band nerds who are literally obsessed with band and ignore their class lessons to tap their fingers on the desk while reading sheet music that they will never use later in life. Then there are the honor freaks, rich kids who are in honor or AP classes who act like they're superior above everyone else and only talk to kids who are in those higher classes. The wannabe hackers, nerdy kids who go on the school computer and act like they're trying to hack something in the mainframe, but in reality they're doing jack and just messing with the settings. The banger kids who throw bangers every weekend, obsess over them, and then once the party is over, they talk about that same party for months till another banger is thrown. Then weeaboos and cringe kids who obsess over anime, filthy frank, and iDubbbz and act like they're all edgy, when in reality, they're idiots who jump off wooden benches and shout, "I'm gay!" God damn, this one's judgmental. There's a lot of furries at my school. It's kind of awkward and cringy for the rest of us. There's a massive club and everything. I'm pretty sure this is not most high schools, though. Going to school in South Carolina, we have a clique my friends dubbed prepnecks. Kids who go mudding, hunting, and fishing. They drive massive pickup trucks, put Trump stickers and Confederate flags on everything, but they also go to church every Sunday, have really wealthy parents, and live in giant houses in the burbs. Okay, hear me out. Take away the Confederate flag and these guys sound like they'd be pretty cool. Otherwise, I don't give a crap who you vote for. I graduated in 2016, so I'm not a high schooler anymore, but the two newer cliques I noticed in school were kids who only talked about politics all day, every day with each other, and the worst clique of all, weeaboos. They were everywhere at my school. Also, they didn't shower at all. Any of them. I don't know why, but all of them, every single last one, smelled like an actual dumpster. I want to say I would most definitely pick the smelly otaku over the guy or gal who just cannot turn off, you know? But I don't know. If you've got really poor hygiene and you actually smell, it would be kind of a tough choice because I hate people who do nothing but talk about politics all day, every day. And while I can definitely tolerate a smelly person for a certain amount of time, all day at school, yeah, I'd probably still pick the smelly otakus, but try and, be informative about the benefits of regularly washing. At my high schools in the United States of America, the social hierarchy is as follows. The population is split up into cells. Each cell is run by one extremely homosexual guy, aka Homoviathan or Alpha Gay. The Homoviathan has a bunch of girls who are his best friends, and according to their social contract, he gives each girl a bunch of crap on everyone else in exchange for the ability to asexually assault them whenever he pleases. Underneath the girlfriends are the straight guys. The straight guys are kissing the Homoviathan's butt in an attempt to get with one of his constituents, and as such become part of his friend group. Finally, you have the straight guys who are not in the dating pool who exclusively hang out with others of their class. I implore you members of the LGBT community watching this video, utilize Homoviathan, put it in the jargon. I don't care. God damn, look at that proud homoviathan over there. I graduated high school last year, but from what I could see, smart STEM kids who kinda kept to themselves but were pretty cool. The anime kids, nothing inherently wrong with anime, but when you watch so much anime that you have to repeat senior year 3 times, nerds at my school were something like an evolution. I don't really have a better words for it. If you know, you know. You could be a nerd and still be cool, smart, or extremely antisocial. Nerds seem to be sort of the bridges between the smarter kids and the ones who weren't as academically inclined. The art students, the athletes, the hunters, and gun fanatics. Last year birthed a new division, Politipals. You had people from all branches squatting up against the other political party. There were 2 main branches of popular, the ones that were actually nice to people, and the ones who kept to their own cliques and made fun of people who were either a hyper geek or weren't part of any group. Butterflies, the kids who you'd call your average student. Gets good grades, isn't socially extra, isn't a student athlete, probably has a few extracurricular hobbies, pretty much the student who has the potential to befriend anyone except the rude branch of popular. But alas, none of these groups are necessarily mutually exclusive. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories. And if you like Am I the Genius, give Am I the Jerk a shot. Linked in the description below.